Okay, I think we are ready to go. So Tommy, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Tommi Männikkö, and I'm from the Nokia Airframe Data Center Solutions R&D, and my focus there is the Open Edge platform. Okay, so this slide is just saying that Nokia is an open compute project or OCP solution provider. Like just heard, we have solutions for OpenRack version 2 and the Open Edge. Nokia is also a platinum member of the OCP. I'll skip the abstract. And perhaps I could say a few words about the background of this Open Edge platform. So that started at Nokia as a project in 2018, and during that year we also decided to contribute this design to OCP in order to get more companies involved in this platform and create an ecosystem around it. So we have contributed to chassis design as an OCP accepted product to the OCP Foundation, and following that also the 2U chassis. That's actually still in the process, but it's the plan is to have that contributed still during this year. And even though the 3U chassis already is quite compact, there was some customer demand for even more compact solution. So that's why we developed also the 2U chassis. So basically, it's very similar to the 3U chassis, but just the top U has been kind of sliced away. But there are still a lot of similarities, as was the target, of course, to be able to reuse everything we had in the 3U chassis. So all the sleds are backwards compatible, so any sled made for the 3U chassis can be used also in the 2U chassis. The PSUs, AC and DC, are exactly the same. Same goes for the RMC, and the power feed capacity for the sleds is still also the same. And same goes for all the environmental specs. So basically, all of these components can be mixed and matched between the 3U chassis and the 2U chassis. So here we can see a picture of a 2U chassis. In this picture, we can see 2 1U servers installed there, and in the bottom right-hand corner, there's also a front haul gateway. So let's go through the specs of the 2U chassis, and of course they mostly apply also for the 3U chassis. So 2U height, 19-inch rack compatible. We have an installation kit that can be used to install the chassis to any 19-inch rack. The depth of the chassis is 430 millimeters, and width is the standard 19-inch width. The sleds are half width, and they are 1U high or 2U high. Power feed is redundant, so and it's centralized within the chassis. So 2 power supplies can feed the entire chassis. Here in this case, in the case of 2U chassis, there can be up to 3 servers or any other kind of sleds in the chassis. We have options for 1200 watts or 2000 watts. And both AC and DC options are supported. The sled level power feed capacity is 400 watts per 1U sled and 700 watts per 2U sled. And the voltage in the backplane is 12 volts. And then there's the chassis management controller, RMC, which has 2 main or key functions. So first of all, it acts as the management unit for the power supplies. So it can read the status, the health of the PSUs. So all the sensors that are available in the PSUs, like input voltage, output voltage, input current, output current, power levels, temperatures, fan speeds, all of those are available and can be accessed via the RMC. The RMC can also control the PSUs, the payload on or off if needed. And the other key function of the RMC is to provide centralized Ethernet connectivity to all the sleds through just one access point. So there's a Ethernet switch on the RMC that is a layer 2 switch, simple switch that is just used for providing access to the BMCs of the sleds. So pretty convenient thing to have just one connectivity point for the hardware management. And in the backplane, the hardware management Ethernet is 1 gigabit per second to all the sleds. And in the front panel, there are a couple of options. One is to use a 1 gig RJ45 connector and or two SFP plus connectors. So we can provide 10 gigabits per second bandwidth to the chassis, and which is more than enough for the management purposes. And on this slide, we can see what kind of different kinds of configurations we can have for the 2U chassis. So all of these 3 slots can be used for any kind of sled. And on the right-hand side, the 2 1U sleds can be, or that slot can be used for 1 2U sled. And any combination of these, and well, in this case there aren't that many, but anyway, there's the full flexibility that we have also in the 3U chassis is available in the 2U chassis. And the bottom picture is highlighting the support shelf which we have there in order to provide support for the 1U sled, which is in the top of the right hand side space. So in case a 2U sled is installed, we just simply take this rail out of the chassis, out of the way, and then we are able to install a 2U sled in that space. and it's a toolless operation as well. Okay, here we can see what kinds of hardware we can use within the 2U chassis. So starting with the power feed, like mentioned already, we have options for AC and DC. The AC range is quite wide, from 100 volts to 240 volts. So covering all the needs on the planet for AC input. And for all the telco customers, we also provide a minus 48 volt supply. Like I said, well, we have recently brought available also a 1200 watt power supply unit, which is specifically kind of targeted for this 2U chassis, because the overall power consumption is reduced from the 2000 watts because of the fewer amount of sleds. And by doing so, we can optimize the cost level of the power feed due to low cost of the PSUs. And another important thing that this brings is that we are able to operate at the more efficient operating area of the power supply when we are able to load the power supplies more when using the 1200 watt PSU. 2000 watts is still quite usable in many cases, actually, because the open edge hardware is typically located in quite harsh environments where temperature range can be up to plus 55, or in some cases a bit more. In which case the power supply ratings have to be derated from the nominal. So in such cases, the 2000 watt PSU gives quite a good margin for derating. And one-use sleds, well, Nokia has available, we have a server option, one-use server sled. Then we have a switch, or actually well, it could be a switch from any supplier that is doing open edge sleds, or it can be a front haul gateway. And for the 2U sled, similarly, any 2U server sled, 2U switch, and I've seen at least plans for such in the open edge community being shown. And front haul gateway, of course, also in that slot. And well, this right hand lower corner is a special slot in the sense that we can also support battery backup units there. So it has a kind of reinforced power feed capability by using two power feed connectors in the backplane. So bringing the capability for the battery backup unit to actually feed the entire chassis in case something happens to the primary power feed. And in the middle here, we have the RMC. Well, that was kind of all the kind of the content specifically related to the 2U chassis I had. This slide is simply stating that we have these two chassis designs. 3U chassis is open accepted, and we are targeting the same for the 2U chassis. Hopefully that will happen still during this year. And in the upper right-hand corner, I'm showing the servers we have, 1U and 2U, and those are open inspired. So we have contributed the hardware specifications for the servers also for the OCP Foundation. And the links below are pointing to the Nokia page for OpenEdge, where we have lots of more information about the products our offering in this space. And the middle link is pointing to the OCP marketplace, where we also have these OpenEdge products available. And the OpenEdge chassis specification, we have that also contributed to the OCP as part of the 3U chassis contribution. So just recently that spec has been also updated to contain the 2U chassis also. And those can be also already found at the Edge wiki page. Also, the 2U chassis design files are already available in the wiki pages. And how to keep up with the action, join the calls. There are regular Edge sub-project calls happening. You can find the calendar in the wiki pages to find out when those are held. And the link to the wiki page for the Edge project, which is under the telco project. Lots of good information can be found there. And then a good way of keeping up is to join the OpenEdge or the Edge sub-project mailing list. So that was all I had for today. And if any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, Tommy, I'm currently not seeing any questions, but let's wait around. I think we got a few more minutes about 7 minutes until the next presentation is due to start. So let's wait around and see if any other questions come in.
Okay.
So Tommy, I suppose I've got one question I could ask. OpenEdge has been deployed in 3U and 2U chassis sizes. Have there been any discussions of any other chassis heights besides 2U and 3U?
There have been some discussion about even higher chassis. But I think the 3U is kind of an optimal form factor in my view, at least. And so there we can utilize the shared power feed efficiently, and it's already providing quite a lot of server capacity or mixing and matching different kinds of units. The 2U chassis is it's even more compact, and there's of course always interest for even a more compact solution, especially in the edge that is seen as important. When going higher than 3U, then well, it becomes less compact. There might be some advantages to it depending on which angle you are looking at. Power feed, for example, should be then kind of the capacity should be increased, and that the solution would be something different than having just 2 PSUs. So, but from the start, I think we have been considering or different kinds of form factors for this platform. So it's pretty well, I think, could look like a higher chassis too. But I think 3U is quite optimal.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And we do have a question from Cosimo on chat. Are there any considerations for liquid cooling for the 2 and 3U size moving forward?
Yes, cooling is always an important topic, especially in such dense designs like the open edge chassis, and there's certainly interest, and we also have been looking into that and thinking about how we could enhance the cooling of the open edge. With the fans today, we are approaching the limits of what is practical, to cool in this limited space, and certainly liquid cooling could help in these dense and ever increasing TDPs of CPUs and accelerators and what have you. So definitely think that is worth looking into, and we are actually doing it.
And then Tommy, there was one other question that came in: do you believe that there's any need for a single sled enclosure that might be ideal for a more compact solution than what you could get with 2U?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, and this is something also that we have been, looking into. The sled as such is a pretty compact, self-sufficient, server as it is, and of course lacking the power feed. But it quite easily it could be put into, let's say, 1U high 19-inch unit with the power supplies, on the other side, sled on the other side, or it could be half width 2U high unit. There are possibilities, and the sled as such is usable for it's worth thinking, other kinds of form factors as those that we have today.
All right, thanks, Tommy.
Hello, I have one question. Is right now your 2U and 3U seems likely is only the single socket solution. Do you have a dual socket solution?
Currently today, we only have single socket solutions. But yeah, the space is of course one limitation in this form factor. It's typically 2 socket servers are full width 1U or 2U chassis. So but today the servers that we are offering and what we are seeing that other companies are offering, they are so far being single socket.
Great. Thank you very much, Tommy.